family, welcome to the channel. Thank you for clicking. And look, we are strolling on this Pink Floyd journey. All I have for this experience is my tea. So warm you up something, nice and warm to drink. Settle in with me if you would. We've already gone deep into the dark side of the moon, and that album didn't really feel like a collection of songs. It felt like one thing, right? Almost like a diagnosis. It looked at time and kind of showed you that it's always slipping. It looked at money, doom, 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 and showed you kind of the trap. Right? We looked at madness. We talked about Michel Foucault, even though, Michel Foucault is not mentioned in that album, right? And it kind of makes you question whether it's something that happens to a few people or something that's quietly waiting for all of us. It was a little bit uncanny. And it wasn't loud about it either. It was kind of calm and measured, almost surgical, right? Like it was saying, this is the structure of your experience, whether you've noticed it or not. Right? And then we stepped into The Wall, which was fire, right? I don't know which one is still at this point that I appreciate more, the movie or the album. We listened to both, and that felt a little bit different, right? It wasn't a diagnosis. It was more of like a collapse that time, right? That was watching a human being take all of those pressures, right? All of that fear and all of that isolation and start building something to protect himself. A wall, brick by brick. And at first, it makes sense. You kind of understand it. You even kind of sympathize with him. But then you realize the thing that's protecting him is also the thing that's destroying him throughout the album or throughout the movie. And then by the end of it, you're not just watching a story. You're kind of asking yourself, where are my bricks? I think that's the point. That's the tool we want to take away from it. And now we're standing in front of animals. And I'm not going to pretend that I've seen it before. I haven't, right? I haven't heard this album. I don't know what the turn it takes. What I do know is this. Every time Pink Floyd builds something, it's not random. There's a pattern. There's intent. There's something that they're trying to show you. So I'm going to take this the same way we've gone into everything else. Open, curious attention, right? Family, thank you for your open, curious attention. Without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and let him cook. Please, please cook.
If you didn't care what happened to me, and I didn't care but you, we would zigzag our way through the bottom of pain, occasionally glancing up through the rain.
Hear me out. If we didn't care about each other, right? If I didn't care what happened to you and you didn't care what happened to me, we'd zigzag our way through the boredom and pain. This zigzagging is something I want us to zero in on, because as a religious man, I'm familiar with the story of Cain and Abel, right? Cain slew his brother Abel, and then after, Abel was dead, Cain runs away and he establishes the land known as Nod. And Nod means wandering. It means a place of wandering. So Cain, because of his lack of care for his brother, remember the famous line, "Am I my brother's keeper?" He responded to God saying, it's like, I don't know what happened to him. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I responsible for him? Even though he had killed him, right? He establishes this land called Nod, meaning wandering, right? Or in Pink Floyd's words, zigzagging, right? You're aimless. Right? When you don't care what happens to other people and you're just caught in this echo chamber, in this web of like self-preservation, right? We would zigzag our way through the boredom and pain, occasionally glancing up through the rain. Fam, it's deep already.
Through the boredom and pain, occasionally glancing up through the rain. Wondering which of the brothers to blame? And watching for pigs on the wing.
Family, you're going to have to forgive me for my myriad of biblical references. Not only am I a religious man, but I believe in the non-Christian cognitive scientist John Vervaeke, who suggests that the Bible is the grammar of Western cognition. It's how in the West we remember how to tell stories, rising and falling actions, sacrifice, things of that nature. So don't take it personally, like I'm trying to preach at you or anything like that. But he says, this is what we do. This is what happens when we stop caring about each other. He says, finally, wondering which of the buggers to blame and watching for pigs on the wing. The wicked flee, though none pursue. Right? And going back to the Cain and Abel imagery again, when Cain killed Abel, he was immediately paranoid. He was immediately watching for the pigs. He said to God, someone is going to murder me if they see me. And God's trying to calm him down. Like, no, this murdering of your brother, you've done something to yourself psychologically. You're now paranoid. When you stop caring for other people, and other people stop caring for you, then you have to care for yourself even more. Then, you have to watch. It changes your salience landscape. You become this thing which is kind of detached from the whole. Almost like a cancer. Fam, let's continue.
For pigs on the wing.
That's crazy. We're only a minute in. Fam, I'm going to have to put the full length reaction on Patreon. I can already tell. Head to the Patreon. It's only $5 to get full access to everything. This will likely be a shortened version here. Okay, so family, this is track 2. This one is called Dogs. You got to be able to pick out the easy meat with your eyes closed, right? All predatory animals, they look for the weaklings, right? They're going to take out the the ones that have injuries, definitely the children, the young, right? They're going to look after, the weaknesses, right? Even the devil, as it says in the Bible, strolls around as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, right? Lions are not going to, look after they're not going to go after the strong and the most capable adults. They're going to look for the stragglers, the ones that kind of get left behind or the ones that are easier to take down. Let me know if you disagree in the comments.
Then moving silently down in and out of sight. You've got to strike when the moment is right without thinking. All alone, dying of cancer.
Family, when he says dying of cancer, salute to Michael Levin. Michael Levin is my favorite biologist / cancer researcher. He's done a lot of great work in cancer research. But he talks about cancers, right? A cancer cell, because one of the questions that he asks is like, why don't all cells behave like cancer cells, right? Because the cancer cell is the cell that sees itself as an individual, as opposed to an extension of an organ, right? So if you have pancreatic cancer, or you have stomach cancer. I'm not sure with all the varieties of cancers, right? But a cancer cell is the cell that's doing its own thing. It's not following the herd. It's not focusing on or identifying as the entire organ. It's just saying, yep, there's me and my private identity doing my own thing and replicating more versions of little isolated selfish cells, right? I'm sorry. I know I broke the cardinal rule just now. You're not supposed to ever pause it during a solo. But I am in physical pain as a result of that guitar. And I have to say it. It's like, this song and what it's done so far, what they're talking about so far. Like, this Selah moment is a very, very painful moment. Do you agree? I'm going to start the solo over. I apologize. The pigs represent the top of this dominance hierarchy, which has taken over the farm. And even though the promise is that, oh, we're going to eradicate all hierarchies, it's animals first, And but we have to establish a temporary dominance hierarchy just so that we can get all of the farm labor. But trust me, just give us all the power, and we'll give it back to you when the time is right. Wink, wink, type of thing, right? But the dogs, who are powerful enough to overturn the entire show, they're being used by the pigs, right? And I find it interesting how Pink Floyd is leaning on this Orwellian Animal Farm terminology with the pigs and the dogs. Rin Gill, one of the great artists of our time, he also leans on this pig and sheep and dog narrative. I think a lot of great songwriters do lean on, this kind of Orwellian, style. But yeah, the dogs are just being used.
Gotta try and shake off this creeping malaise. If I don't stand my own ground, how can I find my way out of this maze? Deaf, dumb, and blind. You just keep on pretending that everyone's expendable.
Listen to that drum. Listen to those drums, and listen to the intentionality behind it. Those drums are going tick-a-dome, 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 right? Everything's intentional. There we go. And fam, listen, this is not an opportunity to finger point, because everybody has been this before. You are not, everyone is innocent and everyone is guilty simultaneously. I don't think the point of this segment is to say, oh no, I'm one of you, or I know people like this. I know you. Listen, all of us have participated in all of these, what are they? Archetypes, right? All of us have been the pig archetype, the wolf archetype, the dog, right? Why is Pink Floyd so fire? Listen to that double entendre. Who was fitted with collar and chain. That and essentially that's your uniform. That's the uniform you put on when you clock in, which is not to say that every job that has you wear a uniform, or everything that you have to wear a suit and tie for, it's not saying all of those things are bad. It's just saying pay attention. Right? Are you fitted with a collar and chain? Does the thing that you do require you to put on something which isn't natural? Right? It's not saying that, your employee badge or any of that is bad stuff. Listen to the deeper meaning there, right? Yo, Pink Floyd is the GOAT. They're the GOATs. Pink Floyd are the GOATs. Those last three lines, who was ground down in the end, who was found dead on the phone, who was dragged down by the stone, right? And because before, when I first started hearing this, I'm thinking in my mind, right? Oh, these are the ways that you can tell that you're the dog. But then he starts to go into the projected future, who was found dead on the phone, who was dragged down by the stone, right? It's not just the ghost of Christmas past, it's the ghost of Christmas future, right? Right? This story has been told before, right? So it's like what he's saying is, if this is where you are now, the extent to which you participate in the, being a stranger at home and, being trained by the man and, the trained personnel, the extent to which you're participating in dog-like behavior, oh, that's the extent to which you will experience these outcomes. For sure. Fire. Fire. I'm hearing pig noises. The song is called Pig. Now this one, I'm going to have a little bit, the pig, right? He's talking to those who are, near the top of the social hierarchy, the dominant ones, the ones who give orders to the dogs. This is big man, pig man, charade you are. And what's interesting about the pig as the archetype, right, is the pig is typically the dog's food. It would typically be the food of the canine. If everything were operating according to its natural function, right? The pig wouldn't be the top of the hierarchy with carnivores underneath. That's not the natural way of things. Maybe that's the charade you are, right? You're playing this very strange game, which isn't even natural to you. Let's think about it, family. You're nearly a laugh, but you're really a cry. So he's talking about, pigs, in a pig pen. They say it rightly because a lot of people, pigs kind of have this reputation for being greedy, right? You greedy pig. But pigs are not actually greedy. When pigs are, their faces down there, kind of digging around in the pig pen, it's not that they're gobbling. It's they're really seeking. They're really moving things around and looking for their favorites, right? And that's kind of an interesting thing. You're nearly a laugh, but you're really a cry. When you look at what the pig is doing, at first you want to laugh. You're like, oh my gosh, look how greedy this thing. But when you look more deeply, it's really the pig is kind of a picky animal, isn't it? Right? And the thing is, of course, this entire album so far has been a double entendre. When you look at the pig, who the pig represents, namely this big wealth amassing, luxury amassing, status amassing force, it is very clear that that what they're seeking doesn't exist. They've gained the world and lost their soul, still unable to fill the void, even with more stuff than, history's kings could have imagined having. It looks like greed, but it's really a search. It's a lack of satisfaction. When someone's greedy, they're consuming to the full, right? But truly, it's, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think here. What do you hope to find? Just one more thing before we allow this to continue. You're nearly a laugh means that the things which you're deeply looking for are the things that some of us have already gained without it, right? Do you really want the Ferrari, or do you want the feeling that you think that the Ferrari comes with, right? It's truly and clearly always the latter. You wouldn't want the Ferrari if you thought that it came with misery and pain. You want what you think the Ferrari gives you, right? But that thing that you think the Ferrari gives you, other people have that without having the Ferrari. So you're nearly a laugh because, if you could just get the thing that other people have without the Ferrari, we would all laugh. But you went on this journey thinking you needed all this stuff, when in actuality, you just needed affirmation. You just needed a hug. You needed, who knows what you needed. But it's something that you can get without the thing. But you're really a cry because at the end of the day, you're tearing the world up in pursuit of something that you can't have. Maybe as a result of the ego you built around it. I'm going to stop talking so much.